just noticed like 10 seconds ago, we are all small. Give me a moment. Just start talking. I'm going to see if I can. I'm going to see if I can expand this. Why? Because we are good-looking fellas, and I'm sure the audience would appreciate being able to see us better.
Likewise, it's one of the cool things I like about StreamYard is they now made that thing where you can create the scenes on the sides, so you can have it like kind of pre-set up with your overlays and all that. I know I do that for one of my shows, Local Football Flavor, where we do all kinds of best ball drafts year round, basically now, and it's so fun. Yeah, all kinds of different things you can do with the StreamYard. You attack it in so many different ways and have good with it.
Awesome. Keep going. Keep going. You probably. Oh wait. Oh snap!
Well,
I think I got it.
Speaker, I've been on stage having talk a lot of times. Being the MC on the cruise ships is always one of the funnest things. We can fill space. So, with today's topic and that tech working good, love it.
I like it.
Your show, not mine. I'm gonna let you kick it off.
Welcome to Easy to Read Deep Thoughts. What I learned a second ago is I wasn't able to go live, so we are winging it a bit. My special topic for the day: AI is taking over. AI taking over, and I really don't know where we're gonna go with this. So this is gonna be awesome. I scratched my. I like to preemptively have a general idea on where my guests might go, because everybody makes up their own topic. I got nothing for this one. I have no idea. I'm the anticipation is killing me. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, the direction I'm planning on taking this is the real reason AI is taking over, because it's already given that it is, but what is the real reason of why? And spoiler alert, everyone out there, it has nothing to do with productivity. So with that being said, I'm letting you guide the ship here, man.
I like it. Well, productivity was like my first 3 guesses. So awesome. Okay, I am Jonathan Geyer. My first noteworthy note is I had the opportunity to sit down and drink a cup of coffee with 30 some odd thousand veterans. The foundation of this show comes from all these interactions. Second noteworthy note is I coach a boxing class here in St. Cloud, Minnesota. We started putting our classes on YouTube, and we are coming up on 1 million views here probably within the next couple of weeks. Joe, do you go by Joe or Joseph? I see. What was that?
Either way, I'm cool. I'm easy.
Awesome. I switched to Jonathan rather than John, probably back in high school because it sounds more intellectual. Awesome. Sorry.
I'm good with that either way.
Perfect. Joe, could you introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Joe Rocky. I've done a ton of different things. Long story short, I built 29 different businesses in my life, all except 4 of which are complete absentee owners or I sold. So when I say I know how to build a business, I have done it throughout, and that's what my consultancy firm does. Is it does it for their clients. You see over my shoulder here my book, Casino Sales Master. And basically what I do is I show that my sales system is so different than anything else out there that I can walk into a casino. One of the very few things that every culture in the world agree upon. Like air is good and casinos are bad and they're built to take your money. That's about the list that every single people agree upon. So if you can walk into there and have them want to pay you, well, that's how you do relationship and life skills to the max. And that's where the foundation of why I know the cause for AI has nothing to do with productivity and why there's a problem town coming.
Oh my God, oh, okay, yeah. What were you saying? What was the last part there?
Or it's already here. I mean, like you can. This is not a problem that came overnight just because some people wrote some code in the ChatGPT and ChatGPT figured it out. This has been a problem that's been brewing for a long time, arguably back to the 80s, and here it is coming to fruition.
Well, hey, let's just dive into it. This article is kind of a plan B. Well, actually, yeah, let me describe the structure of the show. So I write this article totally independent of what Joe was thinking. So I have no idea what his opinion is going to be on the article I wrote. And that is by design. That is on purpose because him correcting me or him adding to my thoughts, it's good conversation. It's fun. Yeah.
Right.
So and I embrace rabbit holes. I embrace deviations here. And if you don't mind, really, I'm super curious where you didn't go. And I think you just kind of did a spoiler alert. You just kind of did a tease. Let's dive into it if you're willing.
Oh, yeah.
What do you mean by it's not productivity? I got nothing.
It's not. I mean, and so that's how it's getting sold as is you can make your employees more productive. You can get more done. That's why you should embrace AI. That's not the real reason why this is taking over. First off, when you look at who's actually funding the AI corporations, it's a business to business sale, not a business to consumer, which means that people using Siri isn't really how AI is making its money and existing. AI is being made from SaaS companies selling it to other bigger companies who are utilizing it. So the starting point is yes, AI is applicable in your own personal life with Siri, Grammarly, and stuff like that. But the real money behind it is corporations buying it to present it as improve our productivity, to increase our bottom line, etc. But that's not the real driving force behind why people are buying it. The reason the companies are purchasing the AI in the vast demand that they are is because at the end of the day, they are not treating their employees correctly, and their employees are more likely to leave and not give their all. And at the end of the day, a computer system will always show up as long as the power's on. So it doesn't matter how mean or bad I am to a computer system, it'll do its job. And that is the fundamental problem. This is a breakdown of the relationship, globally speaking, between employees and the employer. And it's been growing really since the end of the 80s.
I did not see that coming. Totally make well. First thoughts totally makes sense, right? Because we are still there's like a chronological dependency on this transition over to more AI workflows, right? So we are still dependent on us meat stick humans, right? And that's if I'm understanding your point, that's what you're describing, right? Like it's yeah, as AI, well, feel free. I'm making this up as I go, so feel free to correct me. As AI is taking over, your point is speaking to the dynamic, the mush in between AI replacing a bunch of humans and us still being dependent, companies still being dependent on humans, like appeasing the emotional elements.
There's an assumption behind what you're saying here that's wrong. That is part of
I
what
like
needs
it.
to be set out here.
Awesome.
The assumption in which you're stating, or implicitly stating, is that the AI can be as good as what people can be. That's the implicit assumption behind it, and that part is factually incorrect.
Agreed.
And there's a lot of reasons that stem really from sales, which, by the way, the first line item on every financial statement is revenue, aka sales. And no AI bot will be able to do that because just like sales can never have a script to be truly effective, because at the end of the day, it's all based upon relationships and connecting with someone, having them want you to succeed. Robots don't have that. And to give a little indicator that will be a spoiler alert to anyone who's watching this, you'll instantly know how old you are based upon this statement, this concept, really. When we had 100 years ago, the way information was communicated was essentially through radio, newspaper, and talking to other people. And then came along the way of we just implicitly trusted anything that came out of the TV, to the point when Walter Cronkite came off air and said, I thought we were winning that war, the entire public opinion of the Vietnam War changed in one night in one 30-second sound clip. Actually, he was fundamentally incorrect about what his statement was about. We actually were winning that battle, but in 1 second, it changed overnight. So then there was some people who realized that that was a fundamentally incorrect fact and was like, but we are winning. Like what's going on here? And this divide between what can we trust just grew and grew. And there's a whole lot of other elements along the way, but I'm going to give to the one that ESPN went nuts with in the early 2000s. There was a linebacker from the University of Notre Dame, one of the most premier first-round draft picks. Guy just basically won every defensive award in the world. This was like 2005, 2006-ish. And he was theoretically dating a woman online. And it turned out not to really be a real girl. It wasn't really a person at all. It was just someone tricking them into getting the money out of them. And there was a clear line in the sand of, oh yeah, you never should be trusting your like actual thoughts, desires, emotional like releases to the internet. Basically, everyone under 25 knew that at that time. Everyone above 25 was like, how can I be being lied to? Like, who would ever do something like this?
It's a thing with spies too, right?
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
it's a vulnerability, emotional vulnerability.
Exactly. And the point being is that every generation along the line has had a more guard up in terms of, is this real? Do I want to trust it? Yes or no? And from just trusting the TV to now you don't trust anything on TV. Now you don't trust anything on the internet. You don't trust anything on Twitter. And every person's just build up bigger and bigger defenses about this. So what is going on right now is people are trying to be just that one further inch ahead with an AI technology to trick your brain into buying in. But that's not how people actually buy and interact. They do it based upon emotions and connections to other people. So ultimately, you're on a track that will not work, but that's what all of this investment in buying into AI is doing. And it's a self-fulfilling promise of failure. It's just how long until the general populace realizes I'm talking to an AI and I shouldn't care. Because that's a biological evolution that happens with all of us. And we show that each generation gets better at it. So sure, you might be able to sell to the baby boomer and that might work great. But if you want your company to be in existence 15 years from now, you're not selling to that generation that's 13 years old today because they already know this is fake and they're not doing it. I mean, you look at this through so many different examples, but people don't date the same way in high school now that we did then. It's fundamentally different, and this AI component is massive to it. You know, things like filters and the algorithms saying who you should be impressed by and all that. Granted, I'm not saying the way that they're doing it now is correct, but it's different. And if you're trying to use this as selling the same old same way, you're not going to exist either.
Oh my God. So speaking of impressed, I am impressed by what you just said. This is like 10 times deeper than what I was anticipating because, so I've thought about that, you know, and I touched on it a little bit in the article. Is it unique if everybody else is doing it, right? Like, and you're speaking to the sales. I've been geeking out on the Alex Hormozi $100 million offers, $100 million leads, which speaks to the psychology of sales. I've been geeking out on those for a while and, you know, thinking thinking a few moves out, like, does it still work if everybody is doing it? Because my flags are up. Like, I know what it looks like. So when I see it, it's like, you know, like the gyms around town are now using that framework. And I know in ChatGPT, you can just, or I use Copilot, you can just ask it to incorporate my offer into the $100 million offer framework. Right. And then it outputs and it's just blah. Now that I know what it looks like, anytime I see it, it's nothing. Like your point, my guards are up. So is it still effective? Because yeah, super interesting. Oh my, keep running with that. That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, I mean, off that point, you can't script a relationship. And that's in our cores. Every human being is built for relationships. It doesn't matter what religious route you believe in, if any at all. That is a fundamental fact of human beings. We're built for relationships.
Yes, sir.
And AI, without a better way of saying it, is an adulteration of a relationship. It's not a real relationship. It wasn't a real relationship when Google started becoming a thing and I could type in who won the most Super Bowls and how do I figure out how to win the next one. That was just a search engine. It's just an evolution of that in so many ways. Just the difference really is, and this is one of the other factors that's going to hurt AI. Most of them are built from common data and public knowledge sources. And anyone can put their data into it. So by just basic law of averages, it's going to have lots of smart answers and lots of stupid answers. And it doesn't really know how to sort out the difference on cutting edge knowledge. Something's established, sure, it's able to know that 2 + 2 is 4. And no matter how many times you try to tell it's not, it knows it is. Okay, that's established, that's basic. But if you do the cutting edge science, like, will this pill actually make a difference for cancer? I don't know. There's 3 guys over here saying it will. There's 3 guys over here saying it won't. So it doesn't know. And the basic bottom line answer is that it's going to be a C student for everything. So for this productivity upgrade that every company is buying into, you're buying C students. What company do you know that's built trying to target the average and be successful at it. That's not how Google's built. It's the best of the best. Every company that you see is the best of the best. The engineers behind Ford, the people who are making the planes for Boeing.
The outliers, not the mean.
Yeah, they're the top. Yeah, the top line people. Elon Musk is not a random average guy. He's an intellectual.
He's a weirdo. Awesome.
I think he's crazy. Yeah, but the point is in his expertise area, he's elite.
Yes, sir.
Going to that more broad note, there's certainly, we all have things we're good at, where things we're in the mellow at, but the AIs by default are going to be all in the mellow. And it doesn't matter if you're only giving them your data or collectively looking at everyone else's. It's watered down mush that a true expert would be able to dominate in. And that's what companies used to be. Find an expert in this space, this space, and this space, and collectively, boom, now we're on the moon, or the equivalent thereof for your world. So yeah.
In my articles in Easy to Read Deep Thoughts, I'm embracing typos, and my grammar my grammar is still on like a third grade level. Well, it's now becoming an advantage, because how do you know if my stuff is AI written? Because my grammar just sucks. And I'm doing I'm still using Grammarly to correct my horrible spelling, but all the other stuff, that pressure is disappearing. The pressure to be awesome or be perfect or what? Screw it. It's actually turning into advantage, because how do you know my stuff is written by me? Because it's not formal. It's not formatted correctly. It's formatting like I actually format stuff, which is bad. It's poor.
Well, so
not standard.
You talk about pendulums swinging back and forth. For 20 years, people hated doing cold calling, and it was not the way to go, because I can write this script, I can get these people following me on social media, whatever. So why should I bother doing cold calling? Not to mention everyone has caller ID and they don't want to go. It says it's a spam alert. Why are they picking up? But now, if you actually leave a message, you get a call back at a higher rate than you've had in 20 years. That as long as it's a person message and it doesn't sound like a robot or isn't clearly scripted like a robot. It's the same concept of what you just said, but the audio version of it. I can tell this is actually a person. The new Pope just got elected yesterday. I saw 500 different audio memes of something that's not what he said. And that's how the AI has already gotten there. But when you bring your true actual stuff, and when I say stuff, I mean being willing to be vulnerable with someone who might say, you're an idiot, you're totally wrong, I don't believe in anything you just said, people actually believe you more and trust you more because of that vulnerability. But if you're all polished like an AI would be, it's not there. And there's no way to ever simulate a relationship. And that is the core failure of AI, and will always be the core failure of AI, and why you can't ultimately use it to replace people.
Oh my gosh. We are totally aligned. What you're describing now is, speaking of deep thoughts, that is my conclusion on the deep thought on this topic. Like, my flaws are becoming benefits, and that transition, and I believe that's where you're describing too. And when I say flaws, it's just uniqueness. It's rough edges are becoming it's my humanism. I don't even know if that's a word. Yeah.
We'll go with it. I know what you mean.
Actually, ironically, that would be a data point towards my humanism claim, wouldn't it? Because I don't even know if it's a word. Yeah,
I think so. So if you look at it from a scientific standpoint, the way that your brain is built, anyone listening to this, do this test right now. How many people in your life will you implicitly share absolutely everything with? Most people with 6 people or less. That I will share everything with, every detail of my life, not even think about it, I'll tell you stuff. And those are called your best friends, for to use the actual terms here. We all have a system of pushing people away until they prove themselves worthy enough to come to us. And we do this for people interactions, which we can see really easily. That guy's giving me bad vibes, I never want to talk to him. Or, wow, I really hope that guy doesn't talk to me in a bar. Or, man, just stay clear of them. Never want to talk to him again type things. We all know that. We all know those feelings in people we have, and for all different reasons, by the way. We have the exact same thing with technology, and we've kind of hit upon it the same way. That's the scientific reason behind I know everything I just said is right. that people are going to get more exposed to it, realize they got cut, and go out of this. You think about it. For just go from a nefarious perspective. In the early '90s, one of the best movies, in my opinion, of Tarantino's career, which is Reservoir Dogs. It's all about breaking in somewhere to steal.
I second that.
Yeah, it's a great movie. It's all about breaking in to steal stuff. Then it became, well, let's just trick people and having them pay us. And then, or maybe I have this out of order. And then it was breaking into their bank accounts and steal stuff. I had that in reverse order. I apologize. But the point being, if I'm trying to break into a bank through the internet, I can't get shot. If I'm trying to just talk to you, well, the FBI can catch me. But if I'm just talking to a stranger on Facebook and trying to convince them, hey, you should give me 20 grand because it'll really help me for whatever purpose after an emotional investment was made. Well, the FBI ain't going to yell at me because I'm just talking to you, an individual Jonathan. And if I can get you down that road of being all in and bought in that says, hey, are you really believing me? You think you give me my help, etc. And then that 20 grand cashes and then you're ghosted forever from this person. The FBI isn't going to come after you. So this is all the same thing. There's AI tools used by people in China to try to rip people off. And you see these all over the place. This is an evolution. But why are we not robbing banks anymore? Because they got guns and dogs. Why are we not trying to bust into banks' back rooms? Because the FBI will ruin your life. But if I go to an individual through Facebook or through Insta or whatever, I can get away with that until 20 minutes from now and there's a new angle. But you see that it's becoming more and more distant and detached. And the target demo that's getting attacked are those who have less and less built-in experience, for lack of a better way, in the technological space and people being nefarious like this. And that's the criminal way of looking at it. But it's still a sale. It's still collecting revenue. It's still applicable to business. You can learn from evil and still do good from it.
Oh my God. We chopped off my intro in this live redo, but I spoke with 30,000 veterans, and what we're describing, mostly older veterans, right? What we're describing now, what you're describing now actually is a major issue. Like when that Nigerian prince calls up the veterans, says they need money. Veterans are actually sending them money. Like it's, it was interesting to see because I didn't think it was real until I saw it with my own eyes that people were responding. And it's to your point. They just, they don't know. They weren't accustomed. They don't have their defenses up for that.
That's exactly it. They came up in the era of you could believe and trust whatever. Now it's, quite frankly, I know where the divide is for me. I watched an AI press conference of Jerry Jones yesterday about after drafting or trading for George Pickens. And it was completely fake. I knew it was fake because I knew an NFL executive would never say this stuff. It was entertaining, but I'm able to tell that. But I know that there's a generation above me that had they never known about Jerry Jones and his personality or whatever, he's totally believable. Wait, you're telling me that's the owner of the team and he's saying this kind of thing? Like, it's nuts. And, you guys can Google Jerry Jones memes if you want. You'll be able to figure it out. But the point being is that it used to just be with the internet. We could be able to tell. And now there's even cues, like you can tell if this is an AI. Like, is this person actually responding correctly or is there something that's off about it? And exposure to it is what will keep people from buying in. So to go full circle to where I started here,
I like it.
Companies are investing billions, if not trillions of dollars to buy into AI, which will guarantee in failure inevitably. And what would prevent them from having to do that is treat their people correctly, which, by the way, are more intelligent than the AI, and actually give them benefits and incentives to buy into their company like they used to, and they're not. Gallup just reported last month that only 23% of the American workforce is engaged, and that 51% of the complete workforce is looking to work somewhere else. If that's not a testament that employers overall are failing at their relationship with their employees, you can't get anything more in your face. And
oh my God.
AI is not a substitute.
I have a bit of a spiel on this, a rant, if you will. So I'm a Six Sigma black belt, and one of the ideology, like lean methodology, that's a big cup. One of the flaws of lean methodology is the reduction of staff. It's basically it's what you're saying. Like lean is one of those catchy terms or whatnot, but lean sucks. It is not a good thing, because if your goal is to measure process efficiency, like it's a measurement bias. So we're making Oh my gosh, I just had to return my modem a couple of days ago, and I had to sit there for 45 minutes because they had a ticketing system for process efficiency to have people check in, but it was horrible. It did not have the emotional elements. They've increased lean methodology, lean ideology increases the value of these process predictabilities because you can measure it, and it decreases the value of the emotional elements, the human elements, because they're harder to quantify. So it's a measurement bias. It's saying that this measurable part is good and we can't measure it, so screw it, we're not even going to think about it. The kicker being, we're human beings, we are not machines, and the efficiency it's measurement bias. Like, we're prioritizing the easy stuff because it's easy to see. That is not how human beings work. Human beings are dumb. Human beings are awesome. We're artistic. You got to optimize for that, but you can't measure it. It is hard to quantify. Yeah. Awesome. That's my rant.
Well, to go down to continue off this, and this might be deeper in the rabbit hole.
I like it. I think that's the key of the show. Yeah.
One of the major failures of modern sales, and this is directly correlated to data dining, is that you look at your ideal prospect, as everyone calls it, based upon demographic information. How much money they make, what's their income level, what's their gender, what's their age, where they live, blah, blah, blah. But the reality is that your real client has nothing to do with what they look, taste, or smell like, or where they live at. The only thing that your clients truly have in common is the problem that they need solved. And when you look at your ideal prospect from that light, not from easy to gather pieces of information off the internet, like, oh, they all live in, I don't know, the Southern Valley, or they all live in areas that have zip codes that the median income's above 85,000. None of that part really matters. What matters is, what is the problem they need solved? And the core of all of it is an emotional based solution. It doesn't matter whether you're buying a car or whether you're buying a diamond ring. People do not buy a car for 4 wheels and an engine. They buy it because, you know what? It hurts when I bend down too low in a sedan. That's why I want an SUV. I ain't telling my daughter that, but that's the real reason I'm buying this SUV.
That's the reason I got my SUV. 100% sure. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
awesome.
That's the thing. That's an emotional reason. It has nothing to do with the horsepower. You have to look at it. I mean, sure, sometimes there's practical things that you need to have just because they're logistically required. If you want to be able to plow snow or pull a really big boat, there's certain horsepower requirements. But the emotional reason is, I want to be able to have a yacht party. Like, that's nothing to do with the horsepower at the end of the day. So you look at it, goes, every interaction starts with emotion, and trying to weed that out through whether it be efficiency planning or AI, it's a disaster. And then from a practical standpoint, at some point, people are going to go on vacation. And if you can't withstand, like the old Italian method of, we just don't work during the month of July, if your business can't withstand that, that's a major problem. One of the key things, give you the answer to the common problem my clients have for my consulting firm. They all have, if I don't show up to work for 3 weeks because whatever reason, maybe mom got sick and I got to put her in a nursing home and I have no idea how that works. So that's a 3-week disaster. All of them know if they're away for 3 weeks, their business will be dead and they'll have nothing to come back to. That's what all my clients have in common. Beyond that, nothing. Different industries, different races, different ages, different income levels, knowledge levels, all that stuff. Common problem. My business is going to die if I can't come back to it for 3 weeks straight. And that's a real problem. Like, talk about problems that
are the hit by a bus problem.
The baby boomers have that like crazy, and not to paint with a broad brush, but most of them are under that mindset of, I don't do it, no one else will. And that's a problem in itself. It all comes back to the relationship between the employees and the business. And on that note, if you're a small business, the employees and the business is not the same relationship as you and your employees. Important to point that out.
I like it. Oh my gosh, we are at time here. Plug your book again. I had a thought when you were first talking about, but I was active listening, and I don't remember what that thought was. But if you plug it again, maybe it'll come back to mind.
Fair enough. So,
what would you? Oh, sorry. What would you like our audience to take away? The final takeaway for this show. Yeah.
The final takeaway from this show, it really at the end of the day, is that you cannot script a relationship, and every relationship is unique. Human beings are built for relationships, and the best way to get better at a relationship on an individual level is to not be afraid to be vulnerable in an intellectual and emotional standpoint. If you do that correctly, you will drastically surpass the future of this economy as people are diving into AI. And you just by doing that, getting better at your relationship skills will enhance it. So now to take this full circle for your next step, to answer your question of plugging the book, yes, I teach people every single day these type of skills, both in sales and relationships. And I'm able to go into a place that every person on earth knows is built to take your money, which is a casino floor. And I get them to pay me just because of my sales skills and relationship skills. And I teach people that all the time. You can find us at casinosalesmaster.win. Casinosalesmaster.win.
That was awesome. Oh my gosh. What a great episode. I didn't know where this was going to go. Awesome. It went to awesome places.
Awesome. I like awesome places.
All right. For our audience, join us again next week. Thank you. Have a good day. I like it. Oh my God.